Good morning. On this week's episode of Haston Helping Hands, I'm going to talk to you about keeping your word and why it's important. So, a phrase I've recently come across that I really like is part of several different pieces of advice. The biggest one being that has really landed very hard on me is when you're not used to feeling confident, confidence feels like arrogance. So, while thinking that I need to put a placeholder on this, I am going to do my best not to. I am fantastic at keeping my word. If I tell you that I'm going to be there, 9 times out of 10, I show up. Now, I have definitely been the kind of person who, since becoming a parent, there will be times that something happens with the kid. She's sick, so I don't want to get your kid sick or anybody in your family sick, so I will cancel then. And at the same time, in general, I am somebody who keeps their word. And I think about the movie Jerry Maguire, and which one of the people says, "My word is like oak." And it turns out that that guy is full of it. So that's not a great example, but it's definitely how I feel about keeping my own word. The reason I bring this up is because last week I completed a 5K for the first time in 2 years. And the reason that it happened is because I had given my word that I would do it. And the only reason that it happened is because I had given my word that I would do it. So let me back up a little bit. Ever since the pandemic hit, I've been dancing in my living room. I've been going to classes where I felt safe, masking up, sanitizing, etc. I haven't really found my groove to get back to steady standard exercise. I exercise with my daughter in the morning before we go to school. But I haven't really found a way to make it aerobic where there's a lot of hard activity and gets the blood pumping and moving. One of the best things I've ever found is running, and it took me a while to get there. I walked for a while. I walked before I ran, which is pretty typical. And I've completed in my lifetime probably 5 or 6 5Ks, which is awesome, and I'm really proud of myself for that. It's been a while since I've been back. Well, my company actually sponsored me to go do this 5K, and it's a virtual 5K because we're still not in the place where we can do like a real 5K yet. And I was really excited to do it. In fact, there were a couple of people who were going to get together, all vaccinated, super healthy, on town lake in Austin. Even though it's 200 degrees, I was game, I was ready. And then I realized the time that they were doing it, I had to go pick up my daughter. So everything in balance, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to figure this out. Okay, the 5K is at the end of June. What am I going to do? All right, I have time. I even had this idea that I would have my husband and my daughter like meet me at the end of the 5K. Like maybe after her nap, he would get her and then bring her and then they could cheer for me. And all of that was like such an awesome idea in my head, but it never actually happened. And so life got in the way and life got in the way and life got in the way. And then last week I realized, I went, oh my God, this is the last week. I have to get this done. And I realized it was 200 degrees. I'm just like, that's not going to happen. I'm so hot. I'm so bothered. Like, this is not going to happen. I said, wait a second. I said that I would do this. I have to figure out a way to do it and also take care and pick up my kid. And like, I've got to be able to figure out how I can do this safely so I don't hurt myself because I haven't done a 5K in 2 years. And I decided, I said, you know what? I can do this on a treadmill. Nobody said you can't do it inside where there's air conditioning, and nobody said that I had to be outside in the heat killing myself to make this happen. So I'm gonna put this together, and I'm gonna do this. Okay, so I get to the YMCA. Shout out to the YMCA, they're amazing. And I get there, and I realize, oh, I forgot my headphones, and I really need music to run. So I was like, nope, I've got a window to do this. I've got to go do this right now. So I'm just gonna have to push through. So I get to the treadmill and I start working out and I realize, okay, even if I'm just walking and trudging and going slow, I'm still going to make it. Even if I have to do it slow, it doesn't matter if it takes me 3 hours. The problem is that the treadmill has a limit of an hour on it. So I only had an hour. I was like, okay, so how am I going to do this? All right. So what I did is I stitched together. I did 2.1 miles. And I'm not going to lie. That was hard. It was really hard because I have not done a concentrated, steady run for at least 2 years. It's been at least 2 years since I've done a concentrated run, even a mile on the treadmill, which is what I used to do a lot before the pandemic. And so I said, okay, I'm going to do that. And then I was like, but how much time? Okay, I only have 45 minutes, like this is going to run out, and I don't want it to run out when I don't want it to run out. And it was really funny because like I figured out how to use music on my phone without my headphones. And I was far enough away from everybody else because I'm still a little nervous about all of the people. And so I'm standing there and I'm going, okay. And then I'm realizing the time is going to run out. And I said, okay, so then I need to stop it on my own and then start it back up so I can get to 3.1. Well, I'm delighted to report that the huffing and the puffing and the sweating and all of that happened, and I made it to 3.1. I had to stitch it together. One was 2.1 and one was 1.0. But doing that math, it's 3.1. So I'm really, really proud of myself. And I'm really proud of myself that I figured out beyond obstacles. Like I was a parent and I took care of what I needed to do. I did the exercise, which I said I was going to do. So it's not just about keeping my word to my company, although there was a lot of pressure there because I wanted to make sure that I did what I said I would do, especially because someone else had paid for it and someone else had said, you know, we want you to do this. And it's for the American Diabetes Association. And I have several people in my life who struggle with diabetes. And I definitely had the wherewithal to think, okay, this is something I'm going to do. But it wasn't until it came down to, I said I was going to do this, so I really need to do it. So I guess the question I have for you is, how good is your word? If you say to somebody, I'll be there, I'll do it, is it dependable? Is it rock solid? Is it oak, like we talked about? Or is it a little bit flabbier than you would like? Is it something where you say that you'll do it, but things get in the way? And I am the first one to say, sometimes things do get in the way. But 9 times out of 10, would you say that your word is dependable? So I'm going to leave you with that question. And what I would say is that if it's not the answer that you want it to be, work towards making it the answer you want it to be. And if it is the answer, that's fantastic. Talk about a time below. Go ahead and post a comment about a time when you kept your word and it was really hard. Because I think we could all stand to do a little bit more bragging about ourselves. Because when you are not used to being confident feels like arrogance. And that's by Dr. Vasily on Juno on Instagram. I'm going to post that quote because I think it's a great quote. It's along with several other pieces of advice about your comfort zone not being a good benchmark. And I could not agree more, because the thing is that you feel like that's as far as you can go, but in fact, you can go much further. So that is my message this week. This has been Haston Helping Hands, and I'm Jen Haston.